This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning. Good morning. Russ was. Good morning. It's 8:30, so we say, and for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, everybody. Mitchell County Board of Supervisors meeting. We're at the Mitchell County Courthouse in Osage. The meeting is available by GoToMeeting also. There's an agenda in front of us. Are there any corrections needed to be made to the agenda? Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor has made a motion. Is there a second? Second. Arto seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approved minutes of the November 28th meeting. Any corrections needed? Otherwise, we can approve it.
Make a motion for 28th meeting.
Henderson is motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Brian is seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Roll call, Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Sydney.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Motion carries. County Attorney General discussion. Morning.
Morning.
It's sitting kind of low again.
A little bit, that's okay. It's kind of like kindergarten, right? I don't really have anything particular. I was out the last couple of days last week. Not sick or anything, just a little family get together. But so there's not much transpired between last week and today that I can think of. I should send you an update, just regarding the Caphart situation. We're letting time run on that. And, I watched that pretty closely, so I don't think anybody's waiting on me for anything. I try to stay pretty current, but if somebody's waiting on me for something, or, I forgot something, I call it to my attention. Okay? Like I said, the criminal docket's been fairly busy, the juvenile docket's been fairly busy. Things kind of go in spurts. Sometimes it seems like different things take a lot of time. Right now, those things are kind of taking time, so. Anyway.
Okay. Any questions for the attorney? We are good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff update. Sheriff is not with us this morning. Department head discussion. Is there any department head discussion from anybody?
Yeah, I got something. Yesterday at about 4:15, one of my zoning commission members sent me an email informing me that she needs to drop off of the board, due to personal reasons. So, we are now one short, which that falls to you guys to find someone to replace her. We have even numbers right now when it comes to male and female, so it doesn't matter the gender. But I do need one to fill in. It's kind of important. I want that done maybe as soon as possible, just because they're working on the wind project right now. So getting that extra feedback would be great.
What part of the county did she first?
She came off of northern Kirkwood Avenue. So Union Township.
Okay. We'll prefer somebody up in that direction, maybe, or?
We're pretty spread out right now, so I don't know if it truly matters, but
Okay.
just need somebody.
Okay. I have an idea of somebody that's up there, just, yeah. I don't know if you'd be interested or not, but.
Yeah.
So, and I'll let the board know tomorrow. I have a meeting, so they're gonna do a roundtable meeting like they did on the 15th. So I'll inform them of that. Maybe they have somebody in mind also, and I can bring that to you guys.
Very good.
Other than that, we're good.
Any other department head discussion?
So should we come back to the next meeting with maybe some suggestions for somebody or?
That would be good.
Be good sooner than later, right?
Yeah, that would be good. Because they're trying to, keep the ball rolling on those meetings. They're trying to schedule at like one a month. So, yep.
If somebody might up that way, I do too, but we could, make the same for
Certainly.
This meeting Thursday, can we bring someone, can we change that? And bring ideas then too? Need to get it done sooner. Or is next Tuesday?
I think next Tuesday would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you guys need to change your agenda for this.
Okay.
Right. That'll give you time to talk to your board too, right?
What was that?
That'll give you time to talk to your board too, right?
Yeah, because I'll talk to them, tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yep. So,
Okay.
Very good.
Okay.
Any other department head discussion?
I am gonna be sending out budget worksheets the next couple days. I sent out the schedule, only heard back from one department, so I'm swapping 2 departments on their times to meet. Otherwise, you assume everyone else is fine. So,
Right.
and we usually ask by the end of December to have that back, which I think will be the 29th this year. So,
So Rachel, just a quick question on that. So for that, we have to wait for discussion regarding,
wages. So the comp board meets on the 14th, so we're gonna have it on the agenda on the 19th. Whether they decide or not. Yep.
Will we know, well, I guess we'll know insurance as far as hypers and stuff. We know
Yep,
that.
so when I send out the worksheets, I'll have all the, like FICA and IFRS percentages on there.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. I was wondering about, last week we talked about Heartland Risk Pool in regards to the pipeline, and we got that document. Did they say anything about litigation with pipelines or anything like that?
Yep, I was gonna wait till
Okay,
meeting attended, but I can do it now if you want.
no, it doesn't matter, I just was wondering if that'll be fine. And then Cublo, we got a thing from the architect, is there any updates as far as Hinkle with the Cublo?
Well, waiting on Hank, I'm just gonna contact him.
Okay.
I give him some time to reach out to us, they haven't, so, because she was gonna forward that to them. Since they haven't, I get with Dave today, we'll give him a call,
Great.
get that rolling. I thought I'd give them a chance first, but
I just saw that architect email, so I just was wondering, so.
so I told Dave, like, we'll wait till next week. Nothing, we don't hear from them, I guess we'll call them. You know, yeah, or whatever, if you want to be.
Okay. County engineer update.
Just a couple of things. I got notified last week that both Mitchell County and Grundy County did not make the final cut for the grant, so we'll submit it next year, I suppose, again. So we'll see if we can get federal funding yet still.
Which project is that?
The one that we just submitted for the fiscal 24 raise grant for the bridge south of town
Oh, the
here.
bridge one. But you haven't heard about the other one yet, right?
What's that?
The Statesville one, you haven't heard
Oh, no, we haven't heard about that grant yet. No.
of? Okay, I just wondered which one it was.
Yep, this is the bridge grant,
The bridge
so.
one. Okay.
We're still pushing forward on the other raise grant project though. And then, the bridge update, all the concrete's poured this week. The goal is grinding the grooving into the bridge deck, guardrail, paint, shoulders, so I'm not gonna say that it'll be open Friday. I'm not gonna, we're really hoping it will be, so.
Okay.
But if it's not this week, it'll be next week. I don't wanna get anybody else's hopes up again like I did last time, because I really thought we'd make that, so.
Yep.
Soon. So we got some dirt to haul out yet, some spoils, and so when we get done, it's gonna look a little different out there. northeast corner of the bridge where the guardrail used to come around the corner. That wasn't a standard guardrail design, so this bridge will have, the guardrails to protect from striking a stationary object. So this bridge on that corner will have a crash cushion, similar to the one at the Plymouth turnoff on Highway 9, that little short stubby crash cushion will be there. For now, there is no guardrail designed to go around that curve. So I know in the past, the trucks, when they turn that corner, they would always run over that guardrail. So now they're gonna have to be really careful they don't run over the crash cushion, but that's the way the design is now. And so it'll look different out there, but it'll be soon we can get back on it to drive. So the weather this week is conducive to getting everything finished, so hopefully we can. That's all I've got for you this morning.
Is the crash cushion something that if they drag the trailer across it or into it, it's easily replaceable? Or
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think that crash cushion, I think if you look at it, it's a tri-beam guardrail, I think, on both sides, and then it's got crash cushions in the middle. With, I think it's got the wider type crash attenuator on the end of it, like the old guardrail used to have one that's wider. So it's supposed to look just like the one on the Highway 9 by Plymouth turnout there, so Thrush Avenue. So we'll just have to make sure that people can make wide turn. I think with the guardrail being gone, I think the bridge is maybe a little bit, maybe it'll be easier to navigate around. I think the guardrail that came off the bridge before, this crash cushion doesn't change the alignment of how it came off to begin with, so it's not like we're pushing it further into traffic to make that turn, but they'll still have to watch out for when they make the wide turns. And that's just the geometry of that intersection not being a 90-degree intersection, so the trucks turning to the west have to make wider turns. So, but that's just the difference between what it will look like now compared to what it was before. So just a heads up.
Yeah.
All right.
Any questions for the engineer? Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're a little.
I don't know how long Planscape's gonna take, and the library's not here yet.
Let's stick it on IT claims.
Yeah, let's do that. Discussion of possible action on IT claims.
Rachel, did you want to talk about that a little bit?
I can. I received the three different claims, from Solutions. So from my understanding, we have our silver plan with them, our agreement, and that's so many hours. And then once you're above that, you start receiving the bills. So we've received 3. I just don't know if you guys want to pay it out of IT, if you want departments to pay it, how you want to go about all that. I don't know.
Did you look up the $5,000 prepaid that we do for Solutions? Did you look up where that came
Yeah,
from?
so that comes out of IT.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know, if we were to hire someone for the director position, they'll have to be contacting Solutions a lot to kind of get everything set up. So that will be additional money coming out of their department, I would assume. But my thought was, if like my office needed something, we'd have to pay for it, just to try and take the burden off of the IT departments. And maybe we won't have that much. And these bills aren't much, so I don't really think it matters either way, but if things do come up, how we'll pay for them.
That's something we discussed at the budget time, but if, I'm assuming that the prepaid is probably down to 0, so that's why they bill us directly.
Right.
And I guess it's my thought, if the prepaid was coming out of general before, or out of IT before, these probably should come out of IT, because that's kind of how it was set up. But
yeah,
we're gonna have to decide if we're gonna, we get a 15% discount if we send them a $5,000 check, and then services that they provide, there's different ranges of services that they provide, but stuff they'll do to our computers, for instance, we get a 15% discount on the labor rate for that if we do the prepaid. If we don't do the prepaid, then we're gonna pay the full amount, and we could definitely have it so that each department is responsible for their IT needs. And then figure that out during budget discussion, if that's the route we're gonna go, but.
What it's done, like last year, did it run out too, the prepay? Never ran out of it last year.
We don't have a director, so it's been more
Yeah.
IT stuff happening.
Yeah. Right. But these are kind of minimal too, yeah.
Well, even when we had the director, they called them, so they had been used the previous year.
Yeah, it is just getting used more now, but yeah, it did get used, yes.
I don't think the ID department would cover it. It's probably surplus in there now, isn't there?
About normal, just from paying like workman's comp, not workman's comp, unemployment.
I'm good with IT paying for it, so what everybody else want to do?
Do we have to vote on it? Have a motion on that thing?
Is it a motion?
I'll make that motion. ID department.
Okay. Hendricks has made the motion, is there a second?
Second.
There a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Cindy.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Motion carries. The library is not here.
Meeting's 10.
Well, I think we'll have you begin.
I'd be happy to.
Pardon
Want us
me?
to come up or
Yes,
stay?
please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Good morning, it's nice to see you all again. I'm Kathy Showalter from Planscape Partners, and my partner, Ron Viscus, is joining us. We're going to be talking about, we were pleased to be invited to talk to you a little bit about our services. You know, we were here for A to Z. No one here was on the board, but we've been working in the county for the county since Valent came and worked through those projects as well as a number of other projects. We are a municipal financial consulting firm with extra specialties in other areas that brings us into contact with cities and counties throughout the United States. And so we have worked with many county boards here in Iowa when we were working with renewable energy projects, both soy crush and ethanol projects. And so we have an extensive experience with that. We also have long-term relationships with a number of cities, including Osage, which is almost 40 years, Lake Mills, Clarion, Charles City, Clear Lake, a number of cities over the years. We provide a different service than your bond counsel, Northland Securities. Maybe 10 or 12 years ago, I think after some improprieties and new laws went into effect, there had to be a separation of the services offered between your bond counsel and a financial consultant. So we help you figure out what you want to do and how you're going to pay for it. And we do that predominantly through not only tax increment financing, but also we've helped with grants, we've helped with other alternative financing models. So we also work, because of the long-term relationship, we work with helping you organize what you want to do next. Jim was at our Osage meeting last night where we had a planning session with them as we helped them look at what funds were available and where they want to go in the next 1 to 3 years. So that's the kind of assistance. You know, we work on urban renewal plans, development agreements. We sometimes represent private developers or companies like we did in the A to Z case. Other times we represent the municipality and look over the agreements, whether it's a state contract, an urban renewal plan amendment, or a development agreement. But we believe that we can see both sides and craft an agreement that is beneficial to everybody. We don't believe there has to be a win-lose in any of these agreements. Because again, even if we're, representing a private company like we did with A to Z, or working with Valent, or the co-op, when they were looking to expand, we know that you have the ultimate say, and so it makes there's no reason to not help craft an agreement in a collaborative manner. And that's how we work, whether we're working with Rachel as your auditor, you, the board, Jenny in economic development. We try to bring in all the different partners. So the other thing Ron works with is the TIF reporting itself. Quite honestly, we sort of separate our duties and have areas of expertise in different ways. And so he works on the reports that Rachel does, and every other municipality has to report by December 1st on how your tax increment financing is used. It's important to be able to get the maximum benefit from those dollars and help you decide how you want to use them, if you want to use them. I mean, you certainly are capturing from way back, including then the WIN projects. You're capturing the tax increment dollars that are used for the benefit of projects. They're creating taxes in the tax increment financing district. However, your urban renewal area, as you all know, is different. So they're kind of overlaid on top of each other. That's why your roads are all in your urban renewal area and so you can use money on your roads, even though they're not generating any income. That income's coming from another area. So we try to help you decide. I mean, you may know exactly what you want to do in the next 1 to 3 years and what kind of funding source you want to use. But if not, we have to work through that with you as a board to create the kinds of goals you're looking for. And when I was sitting at the meeting when, for example, the Fair Board came, and they're looking at a new building. So we can help you think through how you might help them, if that's your choice in the future, what revenue source you want to use. We also know daycare came up again last night. We know the state had a program to help that industries and cities came together and pooled dollars to match with the state to help the daycare crisis that every town is in right now. You may be faced with a request, and perhaps you've already gotten that, to help you figure out where that money might be coming from. So I think I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. So the timing of this conversation, I think, is really good. You have at least received some preliminary inquiries about whether or not you can help on projects that might be eligible for TIF funding. You have a couple of bonds that are going to be paid off that are using a lot of the TIF revenue that you're getting, and those get paid off within the next year or so. So looking at what those TIF resources might be in the future as you're looking at potential other projects, probably warrants an opportunity for you to take a longer look at what the TIF revenues are, what they're going to be in the future, what your outstanding obligations are. So just based on information that's available online, we did just a high level look at where you are with TIF funding, where you are with TIF obligations. And so so we put together just a really brief spreadsheet, and I'll let you know that this is kind of a mixed bag right now. So the report that you reviewed and approved that goes to the state every year may have looked kind of like that when you were reviewing it. And it looks at the TIF revenues and TIF uses for last fiscal year, 22-23. So the sheet that I've given you is, it lists the anticipated TIF revenues. So for example, the report that went in the prior year predicting TIF revenues for this current fiscal year showed that you might have received, you might have had available to you $226,000 of TIF revenue from Valent. You didn't claim that, you didn't receive that $226,000, but it could have been available to you. Turtle Creek had almost $600,000 of TIF available based on the predicted amounts, but again, you didn't choose to receive that. You have 2 wind farm areas, and the prediction was that you'd get 1.1 million from one of them, 1.3, almost 1.4 million from another one. You actually received 1.6 million in each of those. So that's where this is kind of a mixed bag right now. And I will tell you, because we do this reporting for a couple communities that don't want to, don't have the staff to go through these. I think your report was what, 30 pages?
Yes.
They don't want to go through that themselves. They hire us to put the reports together. There are a lot of nuances on how this reporting comes. So one of the things that's important to understand about these numbers I'm sharing with you is that this needs more detailed analysis. We need to sit down with Rachel and pick her brain on the information that she was using to put this information together and reconcile the difference between what was predicted on TIF revenue and what was actually received on TIF revenue. You have 2 rebate projects, the Osage Elevator and Absolute Energy. The Osage Elevator project actually generated more TIF than the amount of TIF rebate you provided to them, and that's not uncommon based on development agreements that occur. Absolute Energy was just kind of a pass-through. You received about the same amount of TIF revenue as you provided to them in the rebate. And then there's other revenue. The most significant portion of that other revenue is money that's coming from Valent. I think it says a loan repayment, based on what I can tell. And yes, we were involved in some of that Valent stuff years ago. Some of the details have escaped over my mind, at least over the years. So the total revenue you could have received was about 4.9 million. You actually received 3.6 million just because there were a couple pieces of potential TIF revenue that you didn't claim. You had bond payments of about $4 million. You have 6 bonds outstanding based on the information we were able to glean that are paid for from TIF. You have some other bonds out there for some road projects that you aren't using TIF to repay. And then there are ongoing obligations for some TIF rebates. So like I said, you have a couple areas where you could have received additional TIF. There are a couple of bonds that are going to get paid off after this current fiscal year. You have a 2016 bond that was refinanced that's using about $684,000 of TIF revenue each year, and then the 2021B bond that's using $770,000 worth of TIF each year. So after this year, those are TIF revenues that could become available to you as those bonds are paid off. You also have that Turtle Creek and the Valent TIF that you could claim. So in total, after this fiscal year, you could have about $2.2 million of TIF available to you each year. Again, I need to express a caveat with that. You have some TIF areas that, I think most all your TIF areas are economic development TIFs. And there are several kinds of TIF areas. Economic TIF districts have a 20-year life and then they're required to sunset. Redevelopment TIF, and I don't think you have any of those, don't have a sunset necessarily. Housing TIF areas have a 10-year required sunset. So you may have some of these economic TIF areas that are going to sunset. We haven't dug into those old urban renewal plans to find out when that sunsetting may occur. So we don't know how long that $2.2 million might be available for your use. But that's a significant amount of money to be figuring out how you want to manage as you have projects coming up. taking the long view and understanding how you might use those in the future and how you might split what you want to use and what you want to leave available for other funding is important. After fiscal year 2024-25, the next fiscal year, you have another almost $500,000 coming because you have paid off a bond. And so there's that additional amount of revenue that may be coming. So like I said, this needs a lot more scrutiny than what this high-level view looks at, but it gives you a sense that there is significant TIF revenue that could be available to you to plan for how you want to fund some more great projects in the community. But we need some time with Rachel and digging into some of the old urban renewal plans to give you a really good view of what all that is and let you plan for the future.
And so just so you know how we work on a billable hour. We charge $160 an hour, and then transportation mileage from our Clear Lake, Iowa office. We would, should you choose to begin to investigate whether you want to hire Planscape Partners to do some work, we could put together a proposal that would show you a not to exceed amount. Even the cost of us doing work is TIF eligible expenses. Just, that's a little different than Northland that would bundle their expenses in their bond sales. So that would be one of the next steps, is if you would choose, we could propose putting together a proposal. We would put together a proposal for your review at a subsequent meeting.
What you're saying is that your fees can be, the TIF revenue can be paying your fees.
Correct.
It's not coming out of our general fund.
Correct.
TIF pays your fees.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any other questions about what we do, how we might help?
I do have a couple of comments as to what we were talking about. We've talked about this a little bit before also. So the $2.2 million that you're talking about, it's almost 2.3, is designated unobligated TIF revenue, correct?
Right.
So what that
After
is,
this year.
pardon me?
After this fiscal year.
After this fiscal year. So what that is, correct me if I'm wrong, that number is, we're making all of our bond payments, but that's money over and above the payments that we are using for our bonds. That's TIF revenue that we could use for, you said create a project fund, put something that we want to do in a project fund, reserve it for the next fiscal year, and then that unobligated TIF revenue could be used to pay for that project.
Anytime you're spending TIF dollars, there has to be a way of tracking it back. So when Rachel does her report, she has to put in when the resolution was passed or when the agreement was written. So you can't just willy-nilly decide, okay, we're going to do this. You can do it after the fact. We can put it in a development, in an urban renewal plan, but every plan has to describe how you're spending your tax increment dollars. So there's some accountability with your public and the state.
And keep in mind, the TIF revenues have to be spent within the urban renewal area. You can't go outside the urban renewal area. So that's why all your roads are included in your urban
I think
renewal
all
area.
your buildings are in.
Your county maintenance buildings are all in. And so, yeah, it's an important rule, but it's something, as Kathy said, if there's a particular project that you want to fund that isn't currently in the urban renewal area, you can amend your urban renewal plan and put the area in. We've done this TIF work in various forms for about 16 communities in the state of Iowa, about an equal number in southern Minnesota, where the rules are a little different in Minnesota, but the concepts are the same. So we have a lot of background and a lot of experience in understanding what you can and can't do with TIF. And you're right, you can spend money for projects out of current TIF revenues in any given year. You can borrow funds in a variety of ways and pay for that borrowing from TIF revenue over a period of time. A lot of different ways that we can advise you on some of the strategies on how you best manage your TIF count.
Any questions? I'm gonna continue on with this because the library is not a public meeting, so and we're gonna finish this up. Sorry, but so if it was a public hearing, it'd be different, but it's not a public hearing, so. Any other questions here for That's good. So the, economic development is an Iowa code item and certain things can be paid with TIF if it's considered economic development.
Correct.
And I'm wondering about some items that we actually budget for our regular budgeting process. One of them would be libraries, rather than taking it up, we currently take it out of our rural basic, possibly using it.
We just had this
One thing step ahead.
discussion, so, probably 10 years ago, we did get it in an urban renewal plan, with the idea that at that time, computers were not in everybody's homes. They weren't on everybody's phones. They weren't on laptops, iPads. And so it was, what happens is you have to make the case in all your urban renewal plans about why you're doing something. If it isn't specifically in code, then we have to have the case in your urban renewal plan. That would have to be something we'd have to check with probably your attorney with, and we work with both Allers and Dorsey, who are the state's premier tax increment people.
And the county attorney.
Yeah, and of course, always, to see, that would be, on the other hand, your economic development payments, that is always been an acceptable 15A agreement. Now, there's an agreement then written between the county and your economic development office. Although, are they just a standing department in your?
I don't know if they're actually considered a department of the county, but we fund them.
They fall under our 99s.
Okay.
Our contribution to them.
Okay, so then again, probably the best practice would be to create a development agreement that would spell out what they're expected to do, and in return, what you would pay them over 3 years, 5 years, whatever length that would be. And so that should be included.
So we do pay them out of the general fund, and what you're saying is that could be possibly, TIF could actually pay for, that unobligated TIF revenue could actually pay for economic development. Say that from the general fund.
Yes.
Okay. Another was, I had down as the Historical Society of the Fair Board. They bring things to those are just ideas. They bring people to the county to come participate in what they offer, and again, something to figure out, but.
They depend on what they're wanting to do, what they would be doing with the revenue that you provide. Okay, we have to make that economic development case that Kathy just talked about.
Just ideas. So, other things I had down in the project fund, you talked about the, I got it down twice. Historical Society, I know they're possibly thinking of purchasing a building or doing something with the building they're moving. Might be something we could help them with, what they're doing. Fair Board also, you mentioned that, they made it quite known that they want to build a building. Possibly on a lady tip, used to help with that. And then the daycare, they haven't presented their commitment to us, what they want to ask, but fund something like that, so. Those are ideas I've got.
Right.
I don't know what the board's got. I don't want to do all the talking either, I really don't. Like some questions or comments from everybody also, but. Anything?
Well, again, if you would choose to, if you want us to put a proposal together, and then, we did this work, just as marketing, just as an experiment to let you know that we've invested time and energy already upfront, with no expectation of being paid for that work. But going forward, that would all be in further exploration of whether that's an acceptable component that we can use, that Mitchell County could use the tax increment for. 15A agreements are economic development agreements, and there's a wide range of kind of an umbrella of what may be acceptable.
Quite honestly, we've probably invested more in this level of investigation up front before getting hired than we would usually do, but we value this long-term relationship we've had with Mitchell County, so we're willing to make that investment. Just to give you a sense of where this conversation could head with some further investigation. Ultimately, in order to make use of the background information that we'll assemble and provide to you in this initial proposal, if you want us to submit one, ultimately the way to use that is to have a workshop session where you can have these kind of conversations about where your priorities are, where your values are, what kinds of projects you want to fund. So that might be a subsequent follow-up proposal that you might want after this initial investigation.
Possibly during our budget discussion.
That'd be a great time for it.
Because, I mean, that's what we're doing. We're not voting on anything because we're not committing any money right now, but I guess I'll just ask consensus of the board if they want to have Planscape submit a proposal for what they have to offer and what they would charge. I would be all for that. Does any of the other board members have comments on that? Yes, no?
I think it's a great idea.
I know we're all aware we have funds available, but if we have more projects that we really need to do, then why would you do it, you know?
I see a lot of projects we need to do. But
Okay.
that's, you know,
It's up to them, if they'd like to make a proposal, I guess, we either go for it or not, it's up to them.
I'm definitely for it. You got it.
This would get our roads, conservation, economic development, people start thinking what they want, and then they can bring it to the budget meetings with other ideas. I think that'd be a great idea.
Then we will create a proposal for you, and we'll get it to you by the end of the week,
that sounds good.
and then you can decide what to do with it from there.
So would it be something you come back with that? I mean, you submit that to us and then you come back at another meeting or what?
If you want us to come back, come back. If you want to discuss it without us here, you can do that. You can just let us know.
Our agendas are usually finalized by Friday morning, so I mean,
Then we'll get it to you by Thursday.
that sounds great. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Where's your address? Okay, sorry for the delay. Library. Discussion and possible action on the Mitchell County Rural Library budget request.
Who wants to film the share? Okay. Come up front. Okay, great.
Rachel said I have to do this because it's my last time. I'm actually retiring. So you should have received the packets from Marcia. And we're requesting a 5% increase in our funding. And that would be a total of $173,376 for fiscal year 24-25. And the libraries continue to work for you. As a group, we provide over $2 million worth of essential services for the citizens of Mitchell County and the general public. And something that our statistics don't show is the safe places that we provide for citizens that have some mental health issues or some social needs. And we see a lot of that. And actually yesterday in my library, I had a gentleman come in that maybe emits a little bit of an odor. And I really wanted to go Lysol my building after he left, but there were a couple other people in there that kind of are in that same area. And I didn't want to go spritzing and chase my patrons away. So it's a daily occurrence in our libraries where we have people that have social needs that are using us as a safe space. So And you're not gonna see that in any statistics, because how do you track that? But it's just an interesting cultural phenomena that's happening now. And something that we do outside of our buildings is we provide a lot of programming in nursing homes, at farmers markets, at daycares. And we actually checked out as a group almost 17,000 items online. So that's outside of our walls. And inside of our walls, we're very busy facilities. And we continue to provide services to anybody that walks through the door. And we are very grateful for the support of the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors that have helped us to continue our services. And speaking for Stacyville, we did receive a substantial increase to help us with our wages there too, from the city last year too. So, however, it's not helping me as I'm retired. But I knew that was a step that we needed to take, because I am committed to illiteracy in this county. Even though as I leave my position, I still want that to continue in this county. So does anybody have any questions?
What's the plan for replacement for you, or what's?
So my replacement has been hired, Beth Levan.
Okay.
She's been working as my assistant for 12 years. Is that correct?
Almost.
Okay, almost 12 years. And we are in process right now of replacing her. And that's proving to be a little more difficult. We possibly will have to hire 2 part-time people if we can find them. The applications that came in, I only had 1 that even fit the bill at all. So we're kind of working with like, okay, how are we gonna do this? And we're looking at different strategies, like instead of for our children's programming, create the whole thing, we're getting some prepackaged craft things so that more people would be able to walk in as long as they could control the kids. You know, here's your craft to do, instead of like, okay, what am I gonna do, and do the planning. So we did some of that too to help us with our planning. So we're definitely in transition and looking for that perfect person to come in and do youth services at our library, so.
Are you speaking for all the libraries, or?
I am speaking, but they all have their own little stories.
Okay.
I was going to say, I'd like to share a couple of stories from our library. I'm Marcia Coons, and I'm from the St. Anne's Green Public Library. And one particular story is a customer that, she was a large print reader, and she's totally lost her vision, and because of health issues, until those are rectified, and that she can't see at all. And so we delivered to her some of our audiobooks, and we completely exhausted our collection. So then I started borrowing from other libraries so that she would have this, because previously she read the large print books, she could watch television, she could craft a little bit. Now she couldn't do that. And so I had taken an online class from the library for the blind, and I found out that they had a program where we could get a player for her and a couple of discs with 20 books on each disc. And so I did all the paperwork for this customer, and it's mailed directly to her. And she called back and just thanked us for that. And that, because, you know, 4 walls can really turn in on you when you can't do anything else. And so she really appreciated that. The other story that I have is a 94-year-old customer who has mobility issues and can't get out to the library anymore. And I started to deliver books to her. And every 2 weeks, she gets 3 books. And she's so appreciative. And the last delivery I made, she said to me, maybe next time you could add a puzzle with that too. So I just thought I would share just a couple of stories in that. And there's many more in that I'm sure all of us could share with instances like that. So, thank you.
Any other library comments?
Sorry, I hate these masks. I'm just remembering why, from 2 years ago. But I am just recovering from a bug, and I certainly don't want to share with anybody else. Riceville still continues to be quite the hub for children's programming. So if you look at our programming numbers, I don't know, over 2,500 throughout the year. We do both off-site and on-site, but almost all live program. We haven't really gotten into that much virtual. I think since COVID has gone by the wayside, people need connection. So whether it's me going to the daycare or the preschool, or the kids coming to the library, and that is our main focus. As far as our numbers go, it's a community-driven thing, and the kids come to the library, so we offer them programs. We were very fortunate this year to have been the recipient of a STEM cart from Iowa Select, as well as some STEM items, some coding robots, etc. From, what is that, the state, from, no. These are from, they actually come from, it's a state thing. So we now have all of our robots and just incorporating that as well. Prior to this year, for the last several years, I had collaborated with the Howard County Extension Youth Coordinator, and she and I did some 3-hour STEAM camps periodically throughout the year when we had no school days. She has since decided to start her family, which I congratulate her for, and she is staying home with her kids. So I'm a solo act this year. It's not as much fun, but I'm so grateful that I was able to have her as a mentor, because she had been doing it for several years. What else to say? Don't know. I wish you would all just come visit our libraries and see for yourselves how busy we are, how the vast array of programming that we offer to all of our patrons. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. They come up with new ideas, and sure, we can do that. So that's it.
So, I'm Sid Heimer from the Osage Library. One thing that we've started this fall in cooperation with NIAC are the English as a second language classes, and they're holding those twice a week, probably through the winter at the library. They've had some computer issues, so just last night they started using our computer lab for their students. So every Monday and Wednesday night, our computer lab will be used by the ESL classes. The other big news for us for this next year is our 150th anniversary. The Osage Library was established in 1874, and from the information I've seen and can't find again, we were the second library in the state to be incorporated as a library, so behind Independence.
That's pretty cool.
So I can't find that citation anymore. So that's what we're going to be doing next year. We're going to be really busy. I would suggest if you want to come into the library, which we would love to see you all there, to not come after school. It's noisy and crowded and busy. So, for us to have time to talk to you, come before 3. But that would be great. So.
I'm Jerry Brando. I'm a board member for Osage, and I've been using Ancestry the last little bit, and I can vouch for that. Do not go in there. It's packed with kids. So you're not going to get on a computer. You're not going to. It's quite a hub.
It's not. But one good thing about the kids, though, we have puzzles out on our tables at least one in progress at all times. And there's an older gentleman that walks down and he likes to work on the puzzles. And after school, there's a young girl that comes in and they do puzzles together. It's yeah, it's fun. It's really nice. Do you have any questions for us at all?
I feel that the libraries are important in Mitchell County. We need to support you. I think you all do a good job. I've been in all of them, at a time or another, but.
It's other things, roasters, tables for Thanksgiving, the
Yeah.
pie pans, it's not just books anymore. It's sheet rolls, making, it's. Yeah.
Sewing machine.
Sewing machines.
Somebody just gave us a whole Lefsa making. So I'm trying to figure out how to package that so we can check it out for the Lefsa makers.
Advertise that pretty hard.
You would what?
I would advertise that pretty hard. Those are really
I intend to, as soon as I figure out how to get it in a container. The whole thing, the griddle, the roller, the ricer, the flipper things, everything. Sticks, okay. I don't make Lefsa, so, but it's all
Any idea
there.
where that first library was at?
Independence, I believe.
No, I mean, Osage, what building?
Oh, yes,
Location in
our
Osage
first,
that was at?
it started out in homes, private homes, because it was, you had to pay buy a stock certificate in order to participate in the library, which we have one. I know we have one of those left. It was $5, I believe, for a stock, one certificate.
That's quite a bit back then.
Which was quite a bit. And then it moved to the subway building. They were on the second floor of the subway building, and you can still see it says Sage Library there. And then we were in the city hall, and now we're in our original, hopefully last building.
This says discussion or possible action. Does the board want to have action on this today, or do we want to wait until we kind of compile all of our budget things and make our approvals during the budget meeting process?
Well, I'm definitely in support of the library, so I think either way we do this, I think we're indicating we're pretty supportive of the libraries. So it's up to, I don't know, we'll have to approve it either now or during the budget, right?
Yep. I mean, I'm not against what they're proposing. I'm not saying that at all. We don't know what all of our numbers are gonna be because of what the state's done to us when it comes to budget process. That's my only thought. But the board wants to do this now. We can do this now. I just want to bring that up.
I think they're a high priority, but I mean, we can do it now or later, but
If people want to do this now, make a motion, or we'll do it now. It's up to you guys.
Might be safe to wait till the budget hearings.
I suppose, yeah, we can wait, but
We all are in support.
It's not that we're not supporting, it's just the state has made some changes that we're not sure how it's gonna affect all budgets, not just yours, so. It just might be the safe thing for us to have all of our information at that time and know just where our money's gonna be going, so. Yeah.
We appreciate all that you guys do.
Yep, we really do.
definitely.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your support.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do. And historically, you have been so supportive.
You guys all do a good job.
items of note, meetings attended. Went to the city council meeting last night. To the regular meeting, it was a strategic planning session where they sat down with landscape partners, looked at where their finances are and the things that they want to do in the future. And landscape will put some of that together and help them decide what they have money for some of the things they want to do in the future. I think that's it.
Amen.
I don't know.
At Iowa Workforce, there's only one thing on the agenda, that 2022, they got audited, and they were $16,000 in question. And, he wondered if they should take it out of every county's budget, or ours would have been about $1,800 for our county. They voted to take it out of next year's budget. They had one contractor that they contracted with that was in question. And they did provide some work. So then they said, well, can't you go back and sue them for the rest of the money? And they thought there'd be a lot of, they may, if they lost, they'd have to pay a lot more than the 16 and lawyer fees. So they suggested to take it on next year's budget. So that's what we voted on. County Social Service, county took it over, 3 years ago, or the state took it over 3 years ago, and they didn't know how much to budget social service for, and they had a law that they could only carry over 20% of their budget. So our 12 counties had to give back $775,000 this year to the state, because they could only carry over. Next year it's 15% carryover, so it's going to be the same amount that they're going to.
Because they're not using it?
What's that?
Is that because they're not using it? Oh.
Well, they tried to use it on anything and everything they could, but there's only certain things you could use it for.
Okay.
And like I said before, the state has something going on with it, probably gonna end up taking over the social service part, which could be a bad thing.
They did that with correctional stuff too. That seems to be a trend.
And then we had the Heartland Insurance meeting. Attorneys got up and gave a presentation, and I grabbed some copies. I got one for everybody if they'd like it. They brought up the Shelby County ordinance, and they suggest that the counties do nothing right now until the IUB board has their decision. Because either way, whichever way they decide, it's gonna go further up the courts. And they said if we put in an ordinance, we're gonna get sued like Shelby County and all the other counties.
And that's for carbon pipeline, correct?
And the people, I'm sure some people don't wanna hear that, but they suggest that we do nothing. Whether you wanna agree with the attorney's opinion or not, it's up to us, but, they suggest if you don't wanna spend a lot of money on court cases, to just do nothing till it comes up. Because it's gonna go for years in the courts, and it may take a while. So I got a handout, and it's just it has some good points in it, how much money the developer is gonna make and all that. But I got one for everybody, and the extras if somebody else wants.
Thank you.
That's good information, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
But that's,
At least we know what not to do. Right?
that's their opinion, is to do nothing right at this point. That's it.
I didn't have any meetings, but, just what Mark was saying on, my family's making connection, early childhood and DCAT. That's also in the, governor's hand to, cut back on those also. So it's just, they're just really trying to take a lot of small government away from our areas. They think there's the early childhood, there's 30 some around the state, I think it is, and they want to narrow it down to like 16 or 12. So it's just every day it seems like it's something that they want to take away. But something to think about. So.
Getting rid of local control, correct? Managing everything out of Des Moines.
That's it.
Good. Clinton Court report for October, ending October 31st, 2023. The amount is $1,287.86. So noted. Winter management plan update.
Sugar site, 3351 440th Street, Wrightsville. Gasville Finisher Farm, 5029 Ocean Avenue, Stacyville. Iowa Select Labasi Tip 16 Finisher, 2634 430th Street, Little Cedar. And Old Gestation Site, 3838 Timber Avenue, Osage.
Okay, thank you. Public comments, are there any public comments?
I just want to thank the supervisors that did come out to the meeting last Thursday night. I felt it was a good informal meeting. Sometime I would like to have the same kind of a meeting with the supervisors so the public can attend, so you can explain to the public your responsibilities and everything you have to deal with as supervisors, because I think the more information we get to the public, the more informed the public is about what your responsibilities are. I think this meeting the other night gave me an idea to maybe sometime do this with the supervisors, where people could come in and you guys could do the fireside chat. You could ask each other questions, tell them about your background and why you want to become a supervisor. I think it was really very educational. I think it was, thank you. The ones that did show up, I thank you very much for showing up. It shows the county that you support the county and they can come and see you if they have any questions. So I think that was a really successful meeting. So thank you for showing up.
And I'll clarify something because this is a YouTube thing and everything. There were 3 of us at that at that meeting.
Right.
But we did not discuss things with each other because
right.
That's an open meetings violation.
Right.
So we did not do that. We kept to ourselves. We just listened to the meeting as far as what happened.
That was good though.
So that, but I just want to make that clear that we were discussing county business at that meeting. So.
No.
Yep.
It was just basically so we could find out what the governor, lieutenant governor's responsibilities were, what Wales County's responsibilities were, and I think it was very educational on the part that people know that you work with the state. And, you know, we didn't discuss any business as far as your business is concerned, but it was just to let people know you exist. That's the thing. I think it was really, really successful in my mind.
Thank you
very much.
Yeah. Any other public comments? Okay, meeting is adjourned at 9:37.